Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSS Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are all well on your Sunday morning. As on today's show, we will look back at yesterday's 3-1 win over Burton Albion that rounded off the regular season for the Addicts and earned us a fourth place finish in League One. Sets up a two-legged tie with Wycombe Wanderers in the playoff semi-finals. Joining me to talk about all those things, plus much, much more. First up, top right, Mr. Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Yeah, living the dream, mate. It's nearly the end of the season. Hopefully we can end on a nice high. But yeah, good day yesterday. Really enjoyed yesterday. But hope you boys all looking sexy as you usually are, which is nice.
I just can't help it, to be honest. These days it comes so naturally. But yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions for everyone yesterday. Even though we already knew we were in the playoffs, there was all the excitement of who are we going to play. At one point, it was going to be Stockport. At another point, it was going to be Wycombe. And obviously, we were behind in the game, which meant we were going to finish fifth. There's all sorts going on yesterday. Also, their experience in it all in the covered end lower was Tom William. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I think I spent more of the second half checking my phone than I did watching our actual game. I was just trying to think who scored the third goal. And if you asked me the question right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you the answer. So I think that says how much I was paying attention. So, yeah, it was a good day. And obviously, I think the result we probably all wanted, although obviously we'll have to see what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, attention to detail and expert analysis from Tom Walling to come in this next hour. So on today's show, then we will. I think we'll dive straight into looking ahead to Wycombe. You know, the tie is out there now. There's a discussion to be had. I might have a little bit of a moan about the fixture scheduling as well and the way that's been handled. We're also, of course, we're going to hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, gave an impassioned speech on the pitch yesterday, but also got a quick chance to catch up with him after the game. And you'll be delighted to hear that we've got an interview with Tyreece Campbell coming up later on in the show as well. We want to hear what you guys made of yesterday's game and, of course, of the fact that we've drawn Wycombe in the playoffs. Let us know, studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or you can head over to the live chat in YouTube and give us your thoughts. James says, best scenario played out for us yesterday. Wycombe should be really nervous with their recent form. It's our year. Come on, you Reds. All hell let loose is in there as well, asking about injury news. Our own Sam's in there. Spam, Keith, Andrew, Steve, John. Loads of you in there. Steph, Dudley. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game. Let us know how you're feeling about the fact it is Wycombe Wanderers in the playoffs for us. The side that have just lost their last 3 games of the regular season, each of which came against the other 3 sides in the playoffs as well. So very interesting run-in that Wycombe have had. The side that we beat 4-0 like 2 weeks ago as well. I mean, that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. So get your comments in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling ahead of the playoffs. Nath, so at one point yesterday, Wycombe went ahead. At one point yesterday, we were losing. So all these things played out. But eventually, we got to what I think we all wanted, which was us to play Wycombe. And, you know, fingers crossed that doesn't come back and bite us in the backside, because that's what we've wanted. And obviously the second leg at home, they were the 2 things that if you could pick, as James said, a best case scenario, I think they're the ones we would have picked.
Yeah, exactly that. I think mainly, you know, picking any team in the top 6 is going to be difficult because obviously they're all on merit. But I think that long trip to Stockport was probably the last that we sort of wanted, and obviously Wycombe was the next one really. But as you say, it's going to be interesting when we play them. I can't see another 4-0. I hope it does, but I think they're going to have a little bit more in between their teeth, regardless of their form. Considering they got pumped home by 4-0, I think they'll want to try and put something right there. But also big news that they lost Josh Scowen yesterday, which for the season, or for a long injury really, so which could be a massive miss for them in the playoff running. So yeah, it's the best outcome that we could have wanted. But going there isn't going to be. I know they lost conceded 3 yesterday, but they had one of the best defenses in the league really. So yeah, it's going to be a tough game. So we need to go, get those injured players back fit if we can. Take something from the game, even if it's a draw. I really fancy us at home, but that's going to be a difficult one as well. So, and then we've got, if we get that one through, then obviously we've got another tricky one at Wembley, which I'm dreading it already. Just it's a nerve-wracking experience, Wembley, and we're not even there yet. But surely we can't do 3 in a row, surely. But who knows? But yeah, looking forward to it, mate. But regardless of what happens, from where we were back in December, absolute what a run we've been on. What the players have done has been absolutely exceptional. We can't default that. But yeah, we can just all dust ourselves, get down, and we love an old playoff running. So hopefully we come out of it on top again.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that we learned from the last playoff run as well, is that Charlton are always at their very best when Nathan Muller becomes the face of Sky Bet. So we need his big schnoz on Wembley Way again. We need Nathan with a camera in his face throughout the whole game, like it was for at Wembley against Sunderland. Psychology then, Tom. We've done the double over Wycombe this season. It was on Easter Monday, so 2 weeks ago, that we absolutely smashed them at their place, and that was a huge high pressure game for us because that's when we were still going top 2. Obviously, they were still going for top 2 as well. Does that the fact that we've beaten them twice and beaten them so handedly recently, does that play a part? I mean, you must go in with more confidence because of that, surely.
Yeah, you look stupid, I think, whatever you say, and I heard you boys talking about it on Thursday as well. On the one hand, you could say that motivates them to try and come back and as Nath says, be better than they were last time, because I don't think they could be much worse. But on the other hand, on the face of it, we've beaten them twice. The game a couple of weeks ago, obviously, very, very comfortably. And so, yeah, if you're looking at this from a neutral perspective, we go in, you'd imagine, as heavy favourites. They're on a poor run of form. We've just beaten them 4-0. Everything stacks up in our favour, but it's not that easy. We went away to Doncaster, got a 2-0 lead, obviously conceded 1. But, then we come back to the Valley, me and they've spent all day saying, just get an early goal, we'll be fine. We get an early goal, and look how that game ended up. So you just cannot tell. That's what the playoffs is so exciting as a neutral, obviously terrifying if you're involved in it. So I don't know. I think, and I said this, I think last week after the Wrexham game, that Nathan Jones just has to manage the emotions of those players. If they can get anywhere near treating this like a normal game, then yes, we're the better side and we can win this game. And get to Wembley. But, if there's any nerves, if there's any hesitation, we don't know about the injuries to people like Small and Jones. And we've seen, although I thought yesterday we were a lot better, but against Wrexham, when we have a couple of injuries, what a difference that can make. So it's not easy. You're not asking me for a prediction, and I'm not going to make one because then you'd look very, very silly. But on balance, yes, we are the better side, and we go into that with better form and better momentum. Absolutely. So on paper, yes, that says that we should be the side that get through this tie. But it's not as straightforward as that. It's not going to be easy. You're right. It's the result we all wanted. But again, that's no disrespect to Wycombe. You look at the other sides; they're just in better form. It's as simple as that. So of course you want to play Wycombe at the moment. Does that mean it's going to be easy? Absolutely not. But if the players can play their game and as Jones says, be the best version of themselves, then yes, we should get through it. But I'm sure it's not going to be straightforward.
So you look at the other sides in the playoffs as well then. So Stockport and Leyton Orient are the other 2 teams that have made it through. I mean, a fantastic result for Orient yesterday. I listened to Richie Wellens' interview after and he was saying, a lot of people will say that that Huddersfield might be on the beach or anything like that. But I saw it a completely different way. I thought, Huddersfield have got nothing to lose here. They've had a bad end to the season, but I think they will be dangerous at home because they've got to try and prove to their fans that they're not just a bunch of layabouts at the moment. So actually to go there and win like they did was hugely impressive. They're coming into the playoffs banging form, 6 wins in a row. Stockport, obviously including that win yesterday, absolutely flying as well as we go into the end of the season. I think they've won about 7 out of 8 or something along those lines. So there are 3 teams going into the playoffs in very, very good form, and there's one on a bit of a wobble. So when a lot of people say league position goes out the window in the playoffs, and some people say form does as well, but I think your recent form must play a part in it. So if we were to get past Wycombe, I think there's 2 very dangerous opponents who would be there in the final as well, Nath.
Yeah, I think, and they're two completely different sides. I think Leyton Orient, I like Richie Wellens a lot. His previous teams, he plays some nice stuff. They've got some good players. I think when we played them earlier right at the beginning of the season, they're obviously still trying to build, but they, even against Man City, I know it was the FA Cup, but I thought they gave a good account of themselves in that. Play some really nice stuff. Stockport's a lot more similar to us in a way, not identical, but a lot more height, a lot more physicality, and the game up there just cancelled each other out really. So yeah, I mean, whoever gets promoted, whether it's us or the other 3, they're going to have to be at their best. And I think any of the 4. Even Wycombe, to an extent, do have a chance. I know they've got a 25% chance, really. But I think the other 3 are on form, as you say. But yeah, the final is going to be an interesting one, whether that's us in it or not. So it should be a good one. It should 3 completely different teams, which is forgetting Wycombe for a second. 3 complete different styles. But yeah, I mean, as we know, anything can happen. Like the one against Sunderland, it took us until this big German to pop up in the last minute to get us over the line. So anything can happen. Even go back to 98, took penalties. So playoffs are a bit of a lottery. Form does come into it in a way, but at the end of the day, it's 90 minutes of 11 v 11, and we all know things can happen out of the ordinary. So as you already said, Nathan's got to get the players up to speed, get us all mentally ready, and make sure we can handle the occasion, because I've got some good pros in there, and they're going to be needed, likes of Doc and Cov and obviously Lloyd Jones. So yeah, it's about handling your emotions as well. So hopefully we can go to Wycombe, get a positive result. Doesn't have to be a win, but if we get a positive win, it'll be nice, obviously, but a positive result, and then we can go back to the Valley with a slight advantage.
Right. Well, Dean says he thinks that it'll be a Charlton Orient final. Jake says I think he's saying Orient favourites, the way they've come back from behind of late. Don't want to overlook Wycombe because the most dangerous sides can be the one with their backs against it. No, I mean, as Jay says, it's a cup game. All bets are off. Yeah, Steve says, I mean, if we can get an early goal at their place after Easter Monday and their recent run, they could really fold mentally. I mean, obviously we'll do a proper preview of that game on Thursday, Tom. But I just think like they look fragile at the moment, and it sounds like for the first hour, it sounds like they played pretty well yesterday. They missed a penalty at 1-0 to have gone 2-0 up, and then eventually threw it away again, against the Stockport side, who are a good side, as we know. But you just sense a vulnerability in that Wycombe outfit at the moment.
You do, and I agree with the point that if we can score early, I think there's a chance, yes, of doing something there. But you've got to look at this as a 180-minute game, and you've got to think about the second leg at home as well. You'd imagine bringing them back to the Valley, we would be favourites at home for that game. And so Jones has to be careful, because you don't want to go out there and be so open and try and smash them and then get caught on the break and concede, because then suddenly you're coming back to the Valley maybe 1-0 down. So he's never going to settle for a draw, I don't think, even if you take their game as like 45 minutes or half time in the tie. I don't think he's going to go there and say, right, let's just keep it tight here. So I'm sure he's going to go for the win. But as I say, we can't just go all guns blazing and 4 up front and just go for it, because they've still got a threat. They've still got one of the better strikers in the league. Okay, Jones, if he's fit, may well try and keep him quiet again, and did an amazing job, obviously, on Easter Monday doing that. But that vulnerability is there. You're right, and I don't think we've shown too much of that. I thought the goals against Wrexham was sloppy. I thought the goal yesterday was sloppy, which just reminded me who scored the third goal. So that's good news. So yes, we've conceded in recent weeks, but I think there've been more sloppy goals than vulnerable goals. We still look on the whole pretty tight defensively. So that's a positive. And, you know, I know we're going to talk about yesterday's game in a minute, but you look at the form of our number 24 and the way he took his goals yesterday, that's going to scare opposition defenders too. So, yeah, of course, we're going to try and start fast. And if we can get a goal in ahead, you think there's the potential to run away with it. But as I say, me and Nath before the Doncaster home leg were saying that. And look what happened. So, as somebody said in the comments, it is a cup tie. All bets are off. See what happens. But yeah, I think they are vulnerable. I think, look, even if we were to lose this over 2 legs, this is the tie we wanted. Whatever happens, this is the tie we wanted. And as I said earlier, if we're the best version of our team, then we will go on and we will win that game. It's down to Jones to manage that now. Manage the players, manage the fitness and manage the nerves and the occasion, which is something I said about the Birmingham game, the Wrexham game. It looked like it was the occasion that got to these players. So they need to manage that because the atmosphere is going to be hot and, you know, it's going to be a full Valley for sure. I imagine it will be full there, but the atmosphere not as good because the stadium's not as big, but it's not going to be easy by any stretch.
Yeah, Alex says Wycombe are dangerous. The majority of their fans are going into it with zero expectations of going through. The pressure is on us now. Dan pointing out it now might be a masterstroke for them to get Chuck sent off when they did because now we can't play him against them on Sunday. Isaac saying a lot of Wycombe fans calling for their manager to be sacked. Not a good mood going into the playoffs for them. Yeah, I mean, I did have a flick through some of their tweets yesterday. And so obviously we can't always read too much into social media, but there was certainly one fan who said, like, we'd be better off getting a new manager in for the playoffs, which is insane, obviously, because has that ever happened? Surely not. But yeah, crazy. Let's talk about let's get my moan out of the way, right? So the EFL announced the playoff dates like 2 months ago, maybe. And they said this: if you finish here in League One, you're going to play this game, blah, blah, blah. So we've known for months where we might play. So a lot of people have made plans around that, including myself, who's moved my daughter's birthday party to the Sunday. So I had about 40 minutes of panic yesterday, thinking I'm going to have to miss the game. But then I've been massively involved in the organisation of this, and I didn't know what time the party was. And it turns out it's sort of lunchtime, and I could still make it because it's an evening kickoff, so I'm fine, thankfully. But that's been quite annoying. But then you even see, like, even after they then said, oh, that thing we confirmed a few months ago is now not confirmed. We'll confirm something different. Then they confirmed something different. So for us, we know at least it's Sunday now. But then even with Wimbledon, they said, right, and Wimbledon's second leg's going to be on the Friday night. And then about 3 hours later, I forgot what we just said, it's going to be on the Saturday. Like, it's an absolute shambles. They've had months to prepare for this. Like, either put it out and say it's going to be, you know, we don't know what it's going to be yet. There's no harm in saying we'll tell you what it is when we know, because there's lots of things that can change it. Like, or just say, look, this is what could happen. So last time we were in there was a caveat that Sunderland couldn't play in a certain day. So if they finished in a certain place in the table, the fixtures would switch, and that was made clear before the game. There was a couple of things yesterday. So Wimbledon had something at home around the weekend of the second one, which must have been known about. Notts County and Nottingham Forest can't play on the same day. If Bradford were involved, it's the 40th anniversary of the fire up there, so they would make sure that was not going to be a clash. But there were loads of things they knew about, but they could have told us about this, Nate. So I think the EFL need to carry the can for that. That was really, really poor from them yesterday, and there'll be plenty of fans, Charlton fans, who have planned for a Saturday fixture, whether home or away. We didn't know, but we knew it was going to be Saturday, and now they've changed it last minute. That is really, really poor, and it's going to upset a lot of people because they're going to miss one of the biggest games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, well, going back to your first point, when you said that for 40 minutes you was really upset, I genuinely thought you was going to say, I'm really upset, I'm going to miss my daughter's birthday, but I'm glad that you actually did plan to go to the birthday and not the game, so I'm sure Amy's delighted with that. But yeah, no, I agree, mate. Like, as you say, if there's obviously certain caveats, like you say, the Nottingham game because of police and stuff, that makes sense. And I think, yeah, if they just gave the fixtures out at the get-go and go, right, these are subject to change, at least people won't go and make the necessary changes. And it's not even Charlton fan. You've got Wycombe fans that's probably affected.
Oh,
so yeah, Yeah, I'll just try to bring a bit of balance, just in case some random Wycombe fan decided to watch our post-match against who do we play yesterday? Burton. That was it. Yeah, so I'm just getting in Tom's sort of shoes. Yeah, where are we? What day are we? But yeah, no, it's annoying because certain people I've made plans for that Sunday, so it's just a bit. Yeah, it's just a bit annoying, but it's like there's nothing really else that we can do now, and apart from trying to change those plans if we can. But luckily, it's not Stockport. So, because I think the Stockport one, there was like you weren't able to get trains back because if it was a night game or something like that. So, it's just the way it works. But it doesn't surprise me anything them lot do really. And as you say, they did it previously, so I don't know why they didn't put that caveat in before. So at least you sort of know. Bradford don't have to worry because obviously Lapo got his scuff shot managed to get turned in the end, so they're up anyway. So yeah, a bit annoying, mate. But listen, you're going to be able to go to little one's birthday party and go to the game, so it's all good, mate.
Yeah, it's going to be. I am going to have to leave about 20 minutes early, but that's fine. She won't remember. Right, Ethan says EFL moving the game to a Sunday has called me murders. It's my nan's 90th meal on the Sunday. Charlton or nan's 90th. What do you reckon, boys? Bring her down. Like she'd love. I don't know your nan, Ethan, but I can guarantee she'd love to be in that whiff away stand down the front, throwing shapes
mate,
when we. Yeah, go on,
just have to be a mascot, mate. Great birthday present.
Yeah, you see those lovely stories every now and then. Like a 90-year-old woman becomes mascot at her first ever football game because she's never seen a game of football in her life, but it's been dragged along to it. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think we can do that. Isaac saying can't make the away leg now. Fuming. No, so Tobias has got the right idea. Birthday meal in the fan zone for Nan. I mean, that looked like a decent fan zone at Adams Park. They had obviously pints and hot dogs and stuff. She'd absolutely love that. So yeah, as all hell will let loose says, make her a mascot. But yeah, James says get Nan on the drum. There's plenty of scope to have to do both, and that's the thing. Dean's just saying, can I have your ticket? Right. As Stephen says, EFL don't care about the fans. Murray says fans don't matter to the EFL or to TV. Isaac says EFL done Tom earlier in the season with his Stockport trains as well. Yeah, see, we've all been victims of this poor organisation, which has been really, really frustrating. Right, we should look back at yesterday's game. We don't have highlights actually. Jake says get Nan on the touchline with Nathan Jones. I was starting to think Nan might be our lucky mascot here for the playoffs here. She might be our secret weapon. I mean, especially if Chucks is suspended. Like we pretty much everyone's ahead of Gasman, it seems, in the run-in at the moment. So, right, let's look back at yesterday's game. We don't have the highlights. They didn't record properly, Tom. But I'll come to you for your expert analysis. It's a 3-1 win. Started okay, but then obviously Alex Mitchell, who's back in the side, playing at the centre in the middle of that defence, had a bit of a boo-boo, gave the ball away to Tavares. He obviously got taken down by Ashley Maynard-Brewer. They scored a spot kick, and at that point, especially I'm thinking, right, are we currently there's a half a chance here we're going to have to go to Stockport on a Saturday night, which would have turned out to be a Sunday night, which definitely would have been able to go to. So the way the game panned out, I was pleased for Alex Mitchell with what happened after that moment, because that was a pretty hairy moment for a man who's not had a lot of game time recently.
Yeah, and I think that showed in that moment, and we know that he's got that in him. If you take, obviously it's a penalty, so this sounds a bit mad, but if you take that penalty out of it, I thought he had a brilliant game yesterday. After that point, I thought, how's he going to bounce back? If we're going to have Alex Mitchell or McIntyre playing in the playoffs, this is an opportunity to prove themselves here. And then he does that and gives away the penalty, or puts the back pass in that leads to the penalty. And I thought, oh no, here we go. And then obviously it seemed like every single goal kick, Ash was just looking left every time, going to Macca every time, just avoiding Alex. But he really, really improved. He got blocks in, he made tackles, he won big headers. He obviously got that memorable goal in front of the covered end in the second half. Fully sort of paid us back for making a mistake, I think. Look, I'd still rather have Lloyd Jones if he's fully fit, of course, but it's good because Mitchell, at the start of the season, I thought he was playing okay. Then he made a few mistakes. Then he came out of the side. And ever since he came out of the side, we look better defensively, you have to be honest. And when he has come back on a couple of times, he's looked a little bit sloppy. But as you say, he's lacking match sharpness. So for him to come back, put in a good defensive performance, but also remind us of the threat he's got in the other box, because he's a big guy. That's a positive. And even, as I say, if he's not starting games in the playoffs, I think to be able to bring him on, if we are 1 or 2-0 up there and try and shore things up, I think that's a positive as well. As I say, the rest of the performance, I just wasn't worried too much about it. I was worried about trains to Stockport because it didn't look like there were any. I was checking my phone a lot, seeing what's going on in the other game, even though Nathan Jones told us we can't control that, just because we knew we were in the playoffs anyway. I'm pleased we won it. I think the momentum from that is going to be important. And I think Nathan Jones referenced that in his speech after the game as well. And as I said a little bit earlier, with Godden's 2 goals, just that momentum he's carrying into these playoffs as well as one of the informed strikers in the division is again hugely crucial. So yeah, largely a good day all round. A run out for a couple of the youngsters. I mean, Fuller could have scored twice, and he was only on the pitch for about 5 minutes. I thought Mbik again impressed in spells. He's obviously still looks raw, but exciting. Doc could have scored a hat-trick yesterday. I thought there was positive performances all over the park. And as I say, without Thierry Small, without Luke Berry, without Lloyd Jones, that's good. I thought Tenai was better than he was at Wrexham. So yeah, it's a really encouraging result. And as I say, for Mitchell, I was delighted for him, because I think we all like him and we all wanted him to do well. I think he deserved to be brought out of the side, but now he's come back in, and as I say, penalty aside, had a good game. But you can't give chances away like that in the playoffs, and so he needs to learn from that.
Yeah, I think with Alex as well, I think we know what he's good at, and we know the area of the game that he needs to improve on a bit. And we said it before, like just on the ball, he's not as fluid as a Kane Ramsey, and that's why he's come out the side. But yeah, overall, for someone who's not been, I thought he had overall a good season. Like he's done well this year, and I was really pleased with the way he was involved in the build up to the second goal. It was a great challenge, took it round his man, and then just fed it simple to Watson. And I think Isaac or someone pointed out in the chat after when the goal went in, I looked straight to Jones to see what he was doing to Mitchell, and he was there pointing, going, "You did well there, like well done for doing that." But I mean, let's talk about Matty Godden. You talk about form going into the playoffs. 8 goals in his last 10 games for Matty Godden, up to 21 now for the season in all comps, Nath. I mean, it's nice it wasn't that Alfie May's name didn't come up yesterday, because it normally does at this stage. But I mean, let's talk about what Matt has achieved in this season for us. And you go, I mean, Clive Mendonca would have gone into those playoffs with a bit of momentum behind him as well. Paul says it's Godden with his Mendonca moves. The second goal was Mendonca-esque, the way he controls, turns, finishes. Like, have we got the Clive Mendonca reincarnation playing up front for us at the moment?
God, it seems like it. The guy is so intelligent, and I know that I'm glad he scored the goal. So I know obviously the old Alfie May thing was rumbling on back in July or whenever it was, but this geezer was playing in the champ. This geezer scores the goals at every level. He's so intelligent. His movement is unbelievable. He works hard. He wins headers the way he shouldn't win headers. He holds the ball up. He brings others into play. He's such a good all-round striker. And yeah, that second goal, I think that centre half probably wouldn't surprise me if he comes out in retirement. He just got absolutely sold there yesterday. I watched it about 4 times. I can't stop banging on about it, but yeah, he's such a good player. Such a good player. Considering look, are starting with him and TC. They're not the high. You're going against sort of big old ugly sort of units as most centre halves, and they carry their own, both of them, mainly Matty. But I was gutted he didn't get his hat tricks. I think second half there were a couple of times Locke had a shot and he probably should have laid it off to Matty. He just wanted that hat trick. He just wants to score goals because that's what he's really good at. Yeah, delighted for him, and he's going to give him a massive bit of confidence going into the playoff run in. And as I said earlier about experience, is another player really so much experience where he's been involved in similar situations, and he's going to help the younger players like the likes of TC and stuff. So yeah, really happy for him. Absolute on fire at the moment. And if I was a centre half, I wouldn't want to be coming up against him. The first goal, not a lot of strikers would feel confident to score from that angle at all. I mean, I was like, oh, don't try it from there. But that's why he's a professional footballer and I'm not. But yeah, great finisher, intelligent, grafter, like a typical Charlton player, you know, gives his all every game. Looked disappointed coming off because he won his hat-trick, and fairly so. But yeah, unreal performance from the lad.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just catching up with the comments. Dean says that Ethan's nan might be the new Wycombe manager by the time we head there. I'll tell you what, if you offered it to some of their fans, stick or twist, I reckon some of them would be saying we want Ethan's nan in the dugout before the playoffs. Yeah, the third goal. I mean, we were already spoken about. Mitchell scored it. Just not write that one down, Tom. Mitchell scored it from a header. But actually, what I want to talk about is the cross from Connor Coventry was one of the best crosses we've seen this season. It was pinpoint. It was a lovely delivery from him. And yeah, really pleased for Mitchell. I mean, as Finchy said further up in the chat, like after the goal, and once he set up that first goal for us, he was fantastic, Mitchell, and I'm really pleased that he got that goal, and he looked really happy when he got it. But yeah, some cross from Connor Coventry.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll talk a little bit more about Player of the Year shortly, but thoroughly justified, in my opinion, to be part of the conversation for winning that award. And I think the midfield as a whole have just improved week on week in this back half of the season. Obviously, Berry's been out now for a couple of weeks, but we've seen the absence of Berry playing a part. Although I thought Gilbert, who came on yesterday, was excellent and did, we worry about him certainly away from home. And I wonder if Karoy will start if Berry's not fit at Wycombe. But I think the argument has always been that Karoy has the tenacity and the energy, even if he doesn't have the technical ability. And obviously we saw that when he came on, but I thought Gilbert did that. I thought Doherty, again, just brilliant. I've been so impressed with him, particularly in this back half of the season. And Coventry, as I say, and you say, the cross itself was brilliant, but the work he puts in at the base of that midfield, again, like Nath was saying about the debate between May, or one of you was saying about May and Godden, same things come up time and time again about Coventry and Dobson, and I'm not here to say who I think is better, but the work that Coventry does put in and the fact that he doesn't have to throw himself into last-ditch challenges suggests his positioning is good. Yeah, just absolutely delighted. And that midfield has been key in the games that we've won in this back half of the season for me. I remember in that first part of the season, up until probably December, how many times were we talking about that midfield being non-existent and the long, hopeful balls over the top? And yes, we've talked about the shift in playing style since then, but I think a large part of that has to be down to the ability that the midfield have had to actually start to control games. And Connor's been a huge part of that. But yesterday we saw him burst forward a little bit more. Obviously, the pressure slightly off in that game yesterday. And I was absolutely delighted for him. And as I say, recognised with that third place finish in Player of the Year as well, because he's been just a crucial part of the centre of our team.
Ethan saying that his 90-year-old nan could partner an 89-year-old Danny Hilton up top in the playoffs. That's a very experienced front line. Steve says Coventry winning Player of the Year shows how important he is to our side. And that is a very good point, like the one that the players pick. Obviously, as fans, we watch it and we understand the game, but the players are actually out there and know who's helping their position. I think that's a very, very good point. I mean, just before we'll hear from Nathan shortly, but as hinted at earlier, I mean, Ibrahim Fuller full debut, hit the post, would have been great. I think Kai Ensign, I believe that was his league debut when he came off the bench as well towards the end. So that was great. I mean, the whole day yesterday was just great. But yeah, to see those youngsters come on and so pleased for someone like Fuller who's just signed his long-term contract with the club to get his minutes. And I mean, it would have been a great story if he'd got that goal. But to be fair, he was in the right position. He took the chance. You know, if you've got that confidence to be there at this stage, then you're going to get goals when you have a career with the Addicts, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. I think all of them done well. You know, I think it offered us a lot of dynamism, a lot of pace, a lot of power. That Mika and Bick, I remember seeing him against Cray, and I tell you what, he's filled out, and it's like Chukwuemeka's love child. It's mad. He's just like an absolute tank. But the boy can run, and he's quick and he's powerful. He'd come on, nearly scored, as you say. Kai came on and done some nice bits and pieces. It was really nice to see. It topped off a really nice day yesterday. Like, you know, the sun was shining. You know, until I got to the ground, and there was seemed like it was a golden shower in the downstairs toilets that were flooded. So that was fun. Nearly had to get my trunks on. It was that deep, but that was an experience in itself. But apart from that, yeah, what a great day. Seeing all the youngsters come on, and as Nathan said in his interview, the amount of academy products. I don't think you'll have many teams in this division who can boast that. I don't think Stockport or Wycombe would be playing 7, 8 young young academy products in the last game of the season. So something to be proud of. He had a really good feel yesterday. Really, really good feel. It was the first time in a while where everyone seemed to be pulling together. Everyone was getting on, like, great day. And yeah, just it would have been nice for A and Matty got a hat trick. That would have been perfect. And then if Ibby's one just snuck in off the bar, that would have been brilliant. But we can't be greedy. But yeah, no, really, really bright, really positive from the young lads that come on. But yeah, no, a great end to the season. I did go on one point. I did want to raise is I was getting probably more irate of Gary Bowyer than I probably should have done. When he was clapping when Nathan got booked. He was in the line 0 about Josh Edwards' foot every time he had a throw in. So I don't know why it really irked me, but yeah, I was glad that he went off losing because he really wound me up when he shouldn't have. But anyway, that's football, right? Anyway, that's my moan over. So.
We've all had one today. I'm sure Tom's maybe Tom wants to have a word on the golden shower, but I'm sure, as Paul says, what podcast have I subscribed to? I'm fairly confident that's the first time we've heard that phrase on the show, but, tick that one off the list. Isaac said I had to get a canoe in the covered end lower toilets. They never stick that on the season ticket brochure, do they? Like, it's always about the goals and the cheer, everyone together. They never mention the urine. Right, let's hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, after yesterday's game with the playoff fixture against Wycombe. I didn't ask him about the toilets, unfortunately, but everything else covered in this interview after yesterday's game. Congratulations, a great way to end the league season here at the Valley.
Yeah, look, we wanted first and foremost to go into the playoffs with a bit of momentum and a good performance. Secondly, we couldn't affect the other result, but we believed that if we won, they give us a good opportunity of finishing fourth, which meant the second leg's here. So two things really that were really important, to us, and we managed to achieve that.
Yeah, and Wycombe, it will be in the semi-finals. Obviously, played them quite recently, but I guess you'll say they'll have no effect going into these playoffs.
No, playoffs are totally different. So the results and previous and form they tend to go out the window in these things. That's why it's just a wonderful game.
But I guess as one of the sides who have been in good form going into it, you will go into those games with great confidence.
Well, I think we can go into it with great confidence because we are on a good run, and we believe we're a good side when we're at it. When we've got everyone fit and playing, we're a very good side. So we are looking forward to that.
You can feel the momentum around the stadium. So it was a fantastic crowd, a wonderful sunny day. It just felt like everything came into place today.
Well, almost everything. We didn't get the best start, which was ourselves shooting ourselves in the foot, and that's what we always say. Can we be the best versions of ourselves? We weren't in terms of that, but we were pretty dominant early on, and we had chances, and we had shots that took a goal. And look, we deserved to win today. We did. Good to see. I was pleased for a lot of people today. I was really pleased for Matty Godden. I was disappointed he didn't get his hat trick, but. The boy's been, the man actually has been exemplary from the moment he came in through the door, and to him to get 21 goals. He wanted to get 20, he wanted to start today, he wanted to get 20. Strikers alike, they're different animals, and he's one of the best, and he's been wonderful. And then Alex Mitchell to recover from the start he had, to score, and then to have the performance he did. I was really pleased for him as well. And then when you look at it right at the end. We've brought Tyreece Campbell off, who's an academy product, and then we finished the game with 6 academy products. And that wasn't, talk and gestures. We picked the strongest bench we could available to us in terms of everything, and that's what happened. And that's a great moment at the end there when Ibrahim hit the woodwork. Wow, look, the boy. What I love about this football club, what I love about the academy is there's a hunger, there's an athleticism, there's a desire to do well, and there's a talent. And you saw that today, when you can bring on the likes of what we do with the athleticism and the ability, and then Ibi trains with us regularly. We've got Alan Mwamba, who missed out slightly today, and Bick, who's been out most of the season. You've got Croy Anderson, you've got DK, and when you bring those on that really want to do well, and then having taken off TC and stuff, you think, wow, this club is something special, and that's why I love it. That's why I wanted to come here, because I believe there is just a wonderful feel about it, and today was excellent, and it was a good day for us today.
Obviously, there were players who didn't make it today. I know you won't want to give too much away, but will some of those be available by the time the playoffs come around?
Look, what I said to you, or I said in midweek, was I have to prepare a squad to go into the playoffs, and that's what we've done today.
Just finally, that speech you gave to the crowd at the end there, sort of reflecting on your first full season here. How do you look back at it now that you have made the playoffs?
First and foremost, look, we're not high-fiving and thinking we've achieved anything. We haven't yet, but what we said was year in, year out, we have to improve. Last year we did our job last year. We barring something miraculous, we couldn't have gone up last year. But what we had to make sure is we arrested the negative momentum that the club had for whatever reason. We did that and finished strongly, and then there was a bit of optimism. And we had a good summer. We feel we recruited well in the summer. There won't be, it's not going to be meteoric in one window. So I've had one window at the helm, and I think we've, so the players we've brought in, and I won't go through them, but I've had a real positive impact on the football club and especially on the team and on results. So when you reflect back in it, we've had some highs, we've had some lows, we've had some tough points, which, less experienced managers might have gone under, less focused boards and ownership groups might have got a tricky, might have got trigger finger and so on. So we've needed to all be together, and the fact we've all been together, the fact that we all have a goal and we all are looking to move forward and do the right things, and that's what's brought us to fourth place in the league, whereas last year we were 16th.
Well done, Nathan.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Well, Nathan, would you say there's a favourite going into the playoffs or not?
I'd be an idiot if I did. Like a categorical idiot if I did. Stockport have finished third, so it shows over a 46-game season. They've been the third best team. Wycombe so long led the division. We were nowhere near for so long. Leyton Orient have been magnificent and stuff. So I think the table doesn't lie. So the most consistent teams, 2 teams have gone up, and they've gone up automatically, and congratulations to them. Then the next 4 teams, there's very little in that, and they have justifiably got in the playoffs. So I wouldn't say there's a favourite in any way, shape or form, because a lot can happen.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Just before the break there, we heard from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, speaking about the fact that Charlton have finished 4th in League One. We will be facing Wycombe Wanderers in a 2-legged playoff tie starting away from home on Sunday evening. Bo says, great to wake up early in Washington and listen to the show live for a change. Love it. I remember how negative this show was back in October, November, how things have changed for the better. I mean, I said on London yesterday, I think I can't remember a juxtaposition within a single season like this. I think in the entire time I've been watching, I can't feeling as down as we were maybe in sort of early December to finishing in the playoffs, to finishing, we had a chance of finishing top 2 as well. And it's just been a remarkable second half of the season. And also to be the side going into the playoffs, one of the sides with such great momentum, it's been a remarkable turnaround. Let's have a look at a couple of the emails. Elliot's just emailed in saying it's a class atmosphere yesterday, particularly happy for Alex Mitchell, shaky at the start, but he grew into the game and did really well. Great to see the team bounce back, and to Godden forget his brace. Feel like this has set us up well for for Wycombe. Whatever happens in the playoffs, I'm genuinely just happy to be watching Charlton play good football again. It says lastly, it says he wants to thank all of us for doing the show this year. It says cheers, boys and girls. Yeah, cheers. It's been our absolute pleasure. And as there was a question just a few moments ago in the chat about what our plans are for the playoffs. So Joe's saying now that we know the playoffs, what the plans are for the show. So I haven't actually. He doesn't want to be in blue water having Costa while they're on. So I haven't actually ran this past anyone else yet, but. My plan currently is so we'll do a preview on this Thursday as per normal for the Wycombe game. And of course, the Wycombe game's on the Sunday evening. So I think we'll look back at that and do a preview of the second leg on the Monday evening. Obviously, we'll publish all this on social media. Then the second leg is on the Thursday, of which we'll do a look back on the Friday night. So between us, we'll sort out a show because whatever happens, if we've got to Wembley, we'll want to react to that as soon as possible, but it won't be possible on the Thursday evening. So we'll do something on the Friday night. Then there's I think there's about a 10-day break until the playoff final. So I'll have to work it out after that. But we'll that will be our plan certainly for the playoff semi-final. So, but yeah, keep an eye out on the on social media. We'll keep you we'll keep you noted. Michael says pending Notts County, do you need to move the show, Louis? Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what Ethan's Nan's up to as well, and we'll plan around that. But we will do that. What did you make of what Nathan had to say there, Tom? Summing up, I mean, he obviously wasn't getting drawn into Richard's questions about there being a favourite for the playoff. Actually, just came out and said, "Yeah, we're the favourite. Yeah, they're all rubbish. Yeah, we're going to win." But yeah, in buoyant mood, he seemed very content and very happy with everything yesterday, which is always good to hear.
Yeah, he's obviously got immense pride in the work that he's done, and we've heard that on several occasions, particularly in the back half of this season. But also, and he said this again on the pitch as well, didn't he? He's right to point out we haven't actually achieved anything yet. You know, if this season ends with us being in League One again next year, he will look at this as a disappointing season. So the next 3 games are crucial for how we all judge the season, fairly or unfairly. I think what's nice, and you probably found the same, is there was less of the sort of biting back yesterday. Same on the pitch. He could easily, and he did sort of mention about how they've been up against it and how ferocious this fan base can be and how passionate they are. But he kept it positive as opposed to sort of taking it as a bit of a dig. And, you know, we've talked about that being a fuel for him, and rightly so. And as we've said many times on this show, the criticism that the team were getting at the early part of the season was fully justified. The abuse, no, but the criticism of the style of play absolutely was. But then you look at where he's brought us, and he deserves full credit for that as well. So, yeah, I think, as I say, I think he's immensely proud. He's immensely grateful for the opportunity. You could really hear how much it all means to him yesterday when he was on the pitch as well. But as he says, and he's right, we haven't achieved it yet. So he's got to keep relatively grounded, at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And, you know, I'm sure if we're celebrating at Wembley in a few weeks' time, he'll be the best version of himself at that point, and he'll be going absolutely nuts with the fans, I imagine. So, yeah, I've loved having him as manager, even when we've criticised him. Not once have I said I wanted him out of the club at any point, even when we were bad. I think he's the right man. I think he needed time. I think he's shown that. I'm really excited if we were to go up to see what he could do and building this squad next year. And similarly, if for any reason that doesn't happen, I think he's the right man to start to reshape it next year, whoever we go on to lose in terms of players. So, yeah, really pleased. He's a fun manager to watch and to hear from. I don't know, he's probably a little bit harder to interview, and obviously you've had that experience a few times this season. But yeah, I'm delighted, and he's, as I say, he's proud, and rightly so.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting point about next season as well. Look, we're not talking about if we don't. We're not going to have the conversation about who's going to stay, who's going to go if we don't go up, because we're not at that stage yet at all, and I hope we don't get to that stage. But I mean, I listen to Richie Wellings. I find Richie Wellings really fascinating. But his interview yesterday with Phil Parry up at Huddersfield was really interesting. But he said, look, if we don't go up, if I had this squad next year, we'll finish top 2. Like, he oozes that sort of confidence. And you know, when you have managers who've done the job that they have, that Richie's done, that Nathan's done, that momentum, you think, right, I can take that through to next season as well if that has to be the case. But you know, Nathan's comments on the pitch yesterday. There was a bit of, even if we go up, we're not done yet, that sort of thing. Like the work never stops with Nathan, and that's obviously, he's an intense guy and he's an intense manager, but he's got the results, and that's what it means. Dean says that, does Nathan Muller remember the WhatsApp message we exchanged in November saying that we can turn it around after such negative shows? I mean, I really, anyway, I'm not saying that Dean's doing this, but anyone who's going back to that November, December saying that, it was always clear we were going to turn it around. I mean, not only are they lying, but also I think that they're taking away from the story of this season. I don't understand why we're trying to rewrite the history of what's happened this season, because you're denying one of the most phenomenal second halves of the season we've ever had. Like if you thought that in December we were going to turn around and go point for point with Birmingham for the rest of the season, then you're not telling the story of how much of an improvement there has been and how much these players have had to work to get that. And Nathan Jones has had to come through what was going on at that stage in the season. So I think just by going back to saying in November, I always knew this was going to happen, I don't think that was clear at all at that stage. I think you're taking away from what Nathan and the team have achieved by coming through that difficult patch, because that was a very difficult patch. And Nathan said it himself. They had to come through that. And if you're just saying that was always going to happen in November and December, then you're not giving them their credence for what they have achieved in this second half of the year. So, yeah, I never saw this coming a million years off. And I'll happily go back and watch those shows again. And I was saying what was true at the time. You could not see this coming. And the fact they have achieved that, should be celebrated. It shouldn't be, I told you. It should be a celebration of what these boys have done in the second half of this season. I think it's very, very, very impressive. And it's a remarkable tale of the campaign that we've had. Right, let's have a listen to another interview. This is the longest one I've done yet with Tyreece Campbell, so I've getting my PB up. This is TC after yesterday's game, and obviously Charlton sealing that playoff tie with Wycombe Wanderers.
Tyreece, first of all, a great way to end the season with a big win here against Burton.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. The gaffer said that he wanted us to finish strong going into the playoffs, and I think we've done that today.
Yeah, how important was it to make sure you go into that playoffs with continuing that momentum you've showed in the second half of this season?
Yeah, it's very important. It puts us in the best place going into the playoffs.
And Wycombe Wanderers, it'll be obviously a side we faced fairly recently. What do you make of that? Obviously, going to be two very tough games, I guess.
It'll be difficult, but we'll work throughout the week and be ready for the game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you've done the double over Wycombe this season, obviously had a big win there just a couple of weeks ago. Do you think that can play a part in the psychology of this tie?
Maybe, hopefully.
Cool. So some accolades for yourself today as well. Obviously, young player of the year for the club and coming second in the player of the year. What did you feel about those?
I was happy. Before the season started, I wrote up in my goals and my book at home, and those are what I wanted to achieve. So, I'm happy I achieved it.
So you said at the start of the year that you're hoping maybe something like Young Player of the Year could be something you could aim for.
Yeah, aim for Young Player of the Year and Men's Player of the Year. But happy.
Yeah, second's not bad as well in that one as well. And it's been such a good team effort this year. I mean, what have you made of your progress this year, and obviously playing in a different position as well?
I think I've progressed well. Playing a new position. I'd like to thank the gaffer for helping me and trusting me.
And take us back to that summer as well, because a lot of people sort of noted perhaps a change in physicality when you came back this pre-season. I mean, talk us through what was going through your mind in the summer.
I wasn't playing that much, or I don't think I was playing well last season, towards the end, so I made sure I gave myself the best chance in the summer. So I worked hard on my brother in the gym, and made sure I came back in the best shape I could.
Because obviously there's a physical side of football and what you do out there on the pitch, but there's also the mental side of going through perhaps difficult spells at times last year. So to come over that's something that you're going to have to do a lot throughout your career. There's always going to be ups and downs, I guess. So are you pleased with the experience you've gained this year? Yeah,
I'm pleased with the experience I've gained, and happy.
Yeah, obviously there's the experience of being involved in a push for promotion as well. I mean, what's that been like to play in this year?
It's been good. The last time I was younger when the club went into the playoffs and got promoted, so it's nice to be involved this time.
You'll see you in and around the club when that happened 5-6 years ago. I mean, what did you learn about that last year, seeing the then senior team going through that?
I was watching as a supporter, and it was a nice feeling to see the team go up. I was there both games, so nice to be involved this time.
Yeah, and obviously playoff games are as high pressure as it gets, so that's something you and the guys will have to be prepared for. I mean, how important will the manager be in getting you prepared for those 2 games?
It'll be important. I'm going to work hard on the training ground and be ready for the game.
The noise inside the stadium today, I think it was just over 20,000 was the announced crowd. I mean, it was a great place to be like today. What's that like when you're out there on the pitch?
It's good. They're so encouraging. Even if you make a mistake, they're still cheering on. So yeah, it's nice when the fans are all there.
Yeah, obviously you got your own song as well, which is probably, I saw some of the players said it was the best one. It is a very good song. I mean, do you enjoy it? Do you ever sing along to it when you're out there?
Yeah, sometimes at training. Yeah.
What does that mean when the fans sing your name like that?
I don't know, just a good feeling. Yeah, I like it.
Excellent. So a few days rest now. So it's Sunday, the playoff semi-final. It's going to be a big week on the training ground for you and the guys.
Yeah, we're going to rest and recover and get ready for the game.
There you go, Tyreece Campbell chatting to me. If I sound really happy at the start of that interview, it's because literally 15 seconds before he walked in the room was when I found out what time my daughter's birthday party was. So I was like, bang, I can still go to the game. Thank goodness for that. But yeah, great to hear from Tyreece. Ethan's asking if he can book Tyreece as an after-dinner speaker for his nan's 90th birthday party. He's such a good player, and he's going to be a very, very important cog for us, I think, in the playoffs, Nathan, especially if we do get to Wembley. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, but big pitch, space to run into. That's the sort of thing that I mean, it feels like it's set up for someone like Tyreece Campbell to go and make a real name for himself, and then get thrust in front of the Sky Sports TV cameras at full time to talk us through the goal he's just scored to send us into the Championship.
Yeah. We've said many times how important he is, not just for his technical ability, but his pace. We're not blessed with pace in sort of wide areas. I know obviously Josh isn't a slouch or anything by any stretch, but attacking sort of width, he offers us so much. He goes anywhere across that front three, and he's always a threat. So when on his day, he can be really, really effective. There will be times where he'll have quiet games because people double up on him. We've seen that over the years when Corey was here, people double up on him. But I think that he's improved in his self, of his decision making and game intelligence when that does happen, how to bring others into play, which he's done really, really well, and his physicality, which you obviously touched on there. So yeah, really, really happy for him. Obviously, we have a laugh and a joke about his interviews because he's a kid of very few words, but that's just is him being he's quite a shy person. But I do enjoy his interviews. So if he does do a speech at Ethan's nan's party, I'd like that on video. Maybe to sort of do a duo with him and Bo or something. That'd be quite a refreshing sort of after dinner sort of speech with the both of them. Very contrasting sort of personalities, but delighted for him. He's done really well this year. Glad he's got a little song, and if it gives him that little 10% boost, then brilliant, because he's obviously a humble kid and he's done so well this year.
Yeah, excellent. Right, Jay just on email says he was really impressed with Gilbert yesterday. Always looking to accept the ball. He says his vision and forward passing skills would be better suited to the Championship. And McSquare said it was the best outcome yesterday. Finishing fourth and avoiding another long trip up north was the best we could have hoped for. Great to see that Matty Godden's other couple of goals to add to his tally. And Mitchell atoned for his error. Says with Wycombe's poor finish and our record against them, the cards are well and truly stacked in our favour. Now it's up for us to put them out of their misery and get us to Wembley. If we play at our best and take the chances over the 2 legs, it shouldn't be an issue. Now it's in our hands. Now, finally, Player of the Year sort of ceremony took place on the pitch yesterday, Nath. So, and Tom, I should say. So, obviously, Lloyd Jones, Player of the Year. Second was TC. He also won Young Player of the Year. Connor Coventry came third. Thierry Small won the Community Player of the Year, which is sort of the player who does the most in the community, which is actually a really important award. And I'm not surprised because it sounds like Thierry's a really good bloke, Tom. But I mean, it was always Lloyd for me. Some people are actually incredulous that Matty Godden wasn't in the top 3. But I mean, there was so much to pick from this year that you can actually have your top scorer and one of the league's top scorers not in the top 3. And I wouldn't say it made sense, but you can understand how it's happened. Like, he could have easily been in there, but also there's other players who've had a very good season.
Yeah, I think I listened to the show you did, I think just after the voting had come out, and Mark Newbury had about 9 players on his list. And I think I had 6, I think, that I could have picked from to legitimately win the award. I went for Connor, partly because I thought Lloyd Jones would win it anyway. And I thought Connor just went under the radar in terms of deserving the award. So as I say, I was glad he got third. But as you say, I think Godden and those three and Thierry Small, I think, could have been in there. And I think Doc possibly could have been in there as well. I think it goes to show the side that we've built, or I say we, Nathan Jones and his squad and his team behind the scenes have built. And, you know, he was thankful to the people that brought him in, etc. But yeah, it's just a very, very good side. I think Lloyd probably is the deserving winner. I think he probably has been the player that when he's been out of the side, we've noticed the most. And when he's been in the side, you know, he's stood out head and shoulders, literally in some cases, but also just in terms of his performances. And I think the nice thing about this side, I was about to say, if you take him out of the side, that has the biggest impact. But I think you could say that about Godden, you could say that about TC, you could say that about Small, you could say that about Connor. There's so many players in that side that when they come out, it makes a difference. And that just shows how good this squad is. So I'd love to know the percentage distribution. I don't know if that's been shown anywhere to see what the vote was, because I imagine it was, you know, you're probably winning with 20-30% of the votes. I imagine it was pretty tight all the way through. But yeah, absolute credit to him. And as I say, he absolutely deserved to win it as well.
Yeah, for some reason I've just found myself on Carlisle's Twitter page to see if they have a top 3 in their one, but I can't see it. So we'll leave that for now. Nath?
Was you looking for Terrell Thomas to see if he was in there or something?
Well, he's got to be in the top 3, but right, we'll leave it there. Right, we've run out of time. The tickets for the home leg, I believe, have just gone on sale now. So I know Tom wants to get out and sort some extra tickets for his mate. So we'll leave it there. Just a reminder, check out our merch store, charltonlive.etsy.com. If you've got any special 90th birthdays coming up, you know, that's the perfect place to get a present. Ethan, you should definitely, your nan would absolutely love a Charlton Live mug. Get a 10. So yeah, check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and to wherever you see your podcast. We've got some big shows coming up because we are in the playoffs, so make sure you don't miss another show between now and the end of the season. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us in the chat. Really enjoyed your company this morning. Nathan, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure as well.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Lovely stuff. Right, I will see you all at WYCOMBE on Sunday evening. And yeah, thanks for joining us on the show. We'll be back on Thursday to look ahead to that game. I've been Louis Mendes. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. We'll see you again on Thursday evening.